Assalamu alaikum students. Today we will continue with our chapter that is water on page number 15, and this is part 3 of the chapter. So let's get started. Section B, water, its cycle, movement, work and uses. What is the water hydrological cycle? Now, the figure 2.10 that you can see on your screen is available on page number 22 in your book as well, and it is showing evaporation, condensation and rainfall, about which we have already learned in chapter number 1, that was weather and climate. I hope you remember that. Now, the figure 2.10 that was shown in the previous slide, it explains firstly the red and blue arrows, which shows that the water that is transferred on a continuous basis is called water cycle, and it evaporates from sea, river and lakes and then stays in the form of vapor in the air. When the clouds gets heavy because of the weight of the water, it falls down in the form of rainfall, snow or hail. As we know, when it cools down, it condenses from cloud. And now we should have a look at transpiration, infiltration and water to understand water cycle clearly. First is transpiration, which states that it is a process by which plants lose their moisture, and the moisture of the plants that is lost by their leaves, and after that it passes into the atmosphere by converting into water vapor. The second is infiltration. It states that it is the movement of water through the soil and rocks, and some of the water is taken up by the roots of the plants. And last but not the least is groundwater, which is that the part of water which is stored in the soil and rocks, which flows into waters, lakes or rivers. In this slide, it is answering the question that whenever the water evaporates, then what happens? When the water evaporates, whatever is dissolved in the water, for example like salt or anything that is dissolved in it, it just left behind after the evaporation of the water, and the water vapor with the help of the water cycle helps in provision of fresh water that can be used for drinking, bathing and for other purposes as well. And it even provides fertile soil that helps in the growth of the crops, and of all the fresh water in the water cycle that is available in the whole world, there is about 79% of the water is trapped in the ice and snow, 20% is stored in groundwater, and only 1% is in rivers, lakes, rainfall, clouds and water vapor. The influence of the oceans on the world's weather and climate. This heading states that the oceans have a great influence on the world's weather and climate, as the process of evaporation occurs more in tropical oceans than it occurs in the whole world, which later on leads to condensation, and then it have an influence on the atmosphere as well. The oceans are the most important single factor after sun, and which has an influence on the weather and climate of the world as well. Now this is all for today. I hope it will be beneficial for you. We will continue with the remaining chapter in the next part inshallah, but try to read the chapter once or twice for your better understanding. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.